What time is it?
What time is it?
What time is it?
It's game time.
Welcome to another episode of Game Time, presented this week by Newsenda Credit Union, which is fitting for this state football preview show of the Newsenda Credit Union State Football Championships. In this show, we will preview the upcoming matchups and talk to some of the coaches. We've already handed out state championship trophies to Roy Mascaro, Melrose, and Texaco. We have 4 classifications to go. And let's take a look at those upcoming matchups this weekend and start with a rematch of last year's record final.
The Class 6A final will be Cleveland and La Cueva for the second straight year. Let's take a look at how they got there. Top-ranked Cleveland did away with rival Rio Rancho in the state semifinals 38-7. Cleveland has now played in every final since 2018.
Joining us now is Cleveland head football coach Robert Garza. Coach, what's it feel like to make another final? You're 2 for 2 at this thing.
Oh man, pretty fortunate, man. It's unbelievable. It's this time of year getting to still play football. It's the greatest thing in the world.
Cleveland has played in every large school final since 2018. Why has this program been so dominant in recent years?
It's consistency in our program. The kids that we have, they buy in, and they understand what it takes. And we've been fortunate to have some great kids come through our program, in these last few years, and give us a chance to make a run at it year in and year out. It's just, it's a tribute to those guys and how hard they work.
Let's talk about the matchup with La Cueva. You beat the Bears once already this season. What did you learn about La Cueva in that game?
It was so early in the season. There was so much has changed between here and there. They're a really good football team. They are explosive. They got a lot of weapons on offense. On defense, they got guys that make it hard to move the football. So, we know that whatever happened in week 2, that was such a long time ago. We got to prepare, and we got to make sure, we're here for now.
How's the health of the team at this point in the season, heading into the final game of the year?
Well, you get to week 13, 14, guys are banged up, but these guys are resilient and they're ready to go.
How do you get the team ready for the final game, championship Saturday? What's practice like this week? How do you prepare them when you reach Saturday?
We have an extra day to prepare, which is a nice thing. We playing on Friday, then go into play on Saturday. We, like I said earlier, with the consistency, we've just tried to stay consistent with what we do week in, week out. It's going to be very similar to last week, except, we don't have school Wednesday and Thursday. So we're going to come in and we're going to be able to just focus on football those days. So it's kind of a nice time of year.
Well, Cleveland and La Cueva put up a record 136 points in last year's title game. Any prediction in this year's matchup?
I mean, just a hunch. I don't think it's going to be that type of a game this year. I hope it's not. I can't have anticipated being more of a defensive battle this year. 2 really good defenses going against 2 really good offenses, but I don't see that many points being scored this year.
La Cueva put up 63 points against Las Cruces last week to punch their ticket to the finals. La Cueva found the end zone on their first 5 drives of that game. Quarterback Cam Dyer rushed for 200 yards and 3 touchdowns. He also threw for another 300-plus yards in their 63-33 semifinal win.
It's time to talk some football with La Cueva head coach Brandon Back. Coach, congratulations on reaching another final. The last time you and Cleveland met up in the championship game, it was a record shootout. Do you expect the same type of scoring pace this year?
I hope not as a defensive guy, but it's two very talented teams again. So I think there's going to be a lot of points scored, but I think last year was a little bit of an anomaly with the high-powered offenses on both sides of the ball. But I think this year the defenses are a little bit better than they were last year on both sides. So it's going to be an interesting battle either way, but I'm hoping for not as many points.
Do you and the players even talk about last year's game at all? Is there a revenge factor this go round?
No, not at all. We don't even talk about last week. This is just about us getting better at what we're trying to do this year. Last year was a great year. It was a great run. Those kids worked their tail off to get to that point. We unfortunately wound up on the wrong side of it. but that has nothing to do with this year. And any focus or communications or thoughts about what last year was is just going to take away from what this year needs to be. So our focus has always been on just trying to be where your feet are, trying to be as best you can today, and making sure that you're doing what you need today so that tomorrow's a little better.
When you look at Cleveland on videotape and look at their games, what concerns you as a coach?
Well, they got talent all over the place. Their defense obviously is led by two great linebackers in Medrano and Schufelt. And they've been in those positions for a very long time, and they played in state championships for a number of years, so they know what they do. Coach Kilmer's been around for about 672 years, so he's got more football knowledge than anybody else in the nation. So they know what to do defensively. I think that's what they kind of hang their hat on. And then offensively, they just got some young weapons. They've got Waddle out there, a receiver. Obviously, Harris is just one of the best running backs in the state. And then their young quarterback is just being able to get the ball in the right guy's hands. So they're, nobody gets to the state championship easily. And this team definitely has worked hard to get back to that point. And so they got weapons in a variety of spots. So it's going to take a lot of effort for us to do the right thing, be in the right spot, and make big plays when we get the chance.
You two played each other in week 2 of the season. How different are you and how different are they now?
Very different. I mean, again, we don't even look at those comparisons between that game and this game because we're both different teams. We both kind of settled in and figured out what we do well and what we don't do well, and we've hung our hat on the things that we do well. Both teams have been able to do that. So I don't think any of those situations, those games, those plays have anything to do with Saturday afternoon's games. It's just about making sure that we're continuing to improve each and every day and put ourselves in a good spot to make plays when the chance comes.
You had a tough early schedule and since have won 9 in a row, averaging, I think, about 38 points a game or more in every win so far this year. Did something dramatically change, or did you kind of expect this development from your team as the year went along?
Well, we knew we had to grow up early. We have a tough schedule. We embrace the tough schedule. We love having that tough schedule. But we knew that we had a young team, especially on the offensive side of the ball, and we had to grow up a little bit early, and we were going to take some lumps. We took some harder lumps than we expected to, quite frankly, in some of those games, but that's just part of the learning process. But we knew that if we just continue to get better each day and focus on what we can control and let go of the things that we can't, that we would be where we needed to be to get back into the state championship game. And that just came to fruition because our coaches and our kids just kind of bought into the notion of just getting better every day and making sure that we're not repeating the same mistakes and we're learning from those things and putting ourselves in a good spot. And that's where we are right now.
And Cam Dyer has certainly developed each and every week. How dynamic of a player is he for you and the Bears?
He's very dynamic. I mean, he put up 500 plus yards in the semifinal game against a very tough Las Cruces team. So his ability to do it with his feet and do it with his arm make him really hard to kind of bring in, if you will. And then you got Cheeto Lombrero as the running back there, and then all the weapons we have at receiver. So I think our offense has just continued to grow. Probably our offense has grown a lot more than our defense has. We knew what our defense was going to be early on, but our offense has really just kind of stepped into their own over these last few weeks, and they're pretty special, and they can make plays in a lot of different areas. So they put a lot of stress on the other team's defense, and Cam he's the right guy at the right time for that position. He's just doing a great job.
And what's the key to beating Cleveland this week?
Well, it's not about Cleveland. It's just about making sure that we do the little things right. We got to get turnovers. We got to win the turnover battle. We can't shoot ourselves in the foot with penalties that put us behind the chains. When you're playing a good defense like that, you got to make sure that you're not at 1st and 15 for an offsides penalty or a holding call, something like that. So if you can control those things and give your guys an opportunity to be there at the end, you never know what's going to happen. So our big focus is making sure that we win those turnover battles and put ourselves in a good spot so that when we have a shot at the end of the 4th quarter, we're right where we need to be.
The Class 6A matchup is La Cueva at Cleveland at 1 p.m. on Saturday. Cleveland won last year's matchup 75-61. In Class 5A, it will be 1 versus 2, the matchup most people expected, Roswell and Artesia. The top-ranked Coyotes blanked Deming 45-0 last week. Roswell scored 21 points in the first quarter and never looked back. Roswell remains perfect on the season, outscoring their opponents 515-73. Roswell has posted shutouts in 4 of their last 7 games.
Let's check in with the #1 undefeated head coach, Jeff Lynn. Coach, congratulations on reaching the final. What are your initial thoughts about a rematch with Artesia this Saturday?
Well, I mean, I think was expected. You know, I think we probably could have done this 3 weeks ago. So, no, it's going to be a great game, and you know, anytime Roswell and Artesia get together, there'll be a huge crowd, and there's a lot of excitement down here. So it'll be fun.
What's challenging about trying to beat a team twice in one season?
Well, I think you know, when you win the first game, I think you know, obviously what you did worked, and so it's hard to get away from something that worked. But with that said, you know, they've got really good coaches down there, and they're going to make adjustments. So I think the advantage there really lies with Artesia. I mean, we're going to have to do a good job of seeing, you know, how they've adjusted in game and, you know, make adjustments on the fly. But it's definitely a challenge.
You guys have had a fantastic season. Did you expect this kind of year from this group, this roster?
We did. We got a really good, we have 34 seniors. These are the COVID seniors. They came in as freshmen, and, you know, they only got 4 games, but they stayed together, and they worked all through that COVID season. And it's just super proud of this bunch. And then we follow that up with a group of sophomores or a group of juniors that has about 30 kids in it. And so just a real strong junior and senior class. So we knew we were going to be good. It's just a matter of how good and, you know, whether or not we can stay focused and stay humble.
Your numbers have been really impressive this year. You've only given up more than 2 touchdowns in a game twice this season. You're scoring over 42 points a game. Are you more pleased with your offense or your defense this year?
I'm pleased with them both. I think, you know, what we do is we play complementary football. You know, we run the football on offense and try to keep our defense off the field and keep those guys fresh. And then defensively, they've done a fantastic job of, you know, communicating and preparing, and they're aggressive. And so, I mean, I'm not more proud of either group. I think they've both done a good job of complementing each other, and that's the way we want to play here at Roswell.
This game will be played at the Bulldog Bowl. How do you prepare your team for that bright orange environment?
Yeah, we've been down there a bunch. I mean, you know, we play them every year on the freshman JV level. You know, we've played them a couple of times. I mean, the Bulldog Bowl is nice, and you know, Mac Chase has done a good job of taking care of that place. But it is what it is, and we've been down there multiple times. We know what it takes to win, so nothing out of the ordinary there.
If you had to pick one spot, one position that might decide this one on Saturday, where do you think that is? What's the key to this one?
You know, we're still kind of in the process of preparing. You know, it's Monday, and so this is typically a Sunday for us, so we're still kind of looking at things. If I was going to pick one, I mean, every football comes down, in my opinion, every football game comes down to, you know, who controls the line of scrimmage. So, you know, what offensive line and what defensive line, I don't know if I can point to one player. I think line play will probably decide this game.
Artesia beat Piedra Vista 50-0 to advance to the final for the 3rd straight year and 38th time in the history of the program. Artesia only has 1 loss on the season, a 28-7 defeat at the hands of Roswell in mid-October.
With me right now is Artesia head coach Jeremy Maupin. Coach, what are your initial thoughts on the rematch with Roswell? Is this the opponent you wanted for the championship?
Yeah, I mean, we're just excited to be playing for the championship, but I think our kids are, you know, I know we've had a really good season. We played some really good football, but Roswell was not our best game. And so I think our kids are really excited to, you know, get a little redemption there and show them that we can play a lot better football than we played that night in Roswell a few weeks ago.
Well, what will you do different this time around? What's the focus?
Yeah, I mean, I think it just comes down to, you know, you can throw stats and everything out the window. I mean, it's going to come down to who shows up, who executes, you know, who can limit their mistakes and take advantage of the other team's mistakes. So I don't know that we have to go in there and change a bunch of things, but we just have to go in there and execute. And I think that's what we really struggled with the last time, especially offensively, is we just couldn't get into a rhythm. And so we got to try to get into a rhythm and figure out some ways to do that this time.
You get to host this year's championship game. Paint me a picture of what Bulldog Bowl is like on Championship Saturday?
Yeah, I mean, it's just the last time I walked down the ramp on a championship game in Artesia was when I was playing in 2004. That we got to play championship at home, and I mean, you have just a ton of emotions walking down. You as soon as you walk out, it's just deafening loud. When we played up in Roswell a few weeks ago, the Wool Bowl was almost filled, and so I imagine we're gonna have a full house. We're gonna have people standing around the rails, and it's gonna be loud. It's gonna be just a great atmosphere. It's football weather. It's gonna be like in the 40s, which is awesome. And so I think it's just such an experience. Our community comes out and supports, and really Roswell does a good job as well. And so it's gonna be a fun atmosphere on Saturday.
You've won state titles as both a player and a coach. What do you remember from what your coach told you on Championship Saturday, and what will you tell your players on Saturday before the game?
Yeah, I mean, it's you can't treat it like a different game, and that's what Coach Henderson always told us is, we can't go out there and you can't all of a sudden play way better than you ever have. It really comes down to who executes that day, who can stay within themselves, who can shut the noise down and shut the excitement and all the hoopla and everything going on down and just play good football. And so that's really what we told our guys, last year and the last couple of years in the championship. And so I know Coach Henderson, just yesterday, we were up here watching film, and I said, hey, what do you remember telling your guys during the playoff games? And I already know what he's going to say, because I've asked him, the last several years what he would say, but it really just comes down to, like I said, you throw out all the records, you throw out all your, all year you worry about tendencies and you worry about all these things. And when you show up in the state game, you throw all that out the window, and you go find your best guys, and you figure out a way to go win a ball game.
The 5A final will be Roswell at Artesia in the Bulldog Bowl Saturday at 1 p.m. In Class 4A, Portales provided a fantastic finish as Devin Diaz scored in the final 15 seconds to give the Rams a 28-21 win over defending state champ Bloomfield. It's the first finals appearance for Portales since 2019.
Through the magic of the internet, we are now with Coach Ramirez from Portales High School. Coach, before I ask you about Saturday's matchup coming up, I want to ask you about last week's state semifinal win. What was going through your mind on that final drive, and what were your thoughts scoring the winning touchdown with 15 seconds to go in that one?
Well, both teams, Bloomfield was a good football team, and I knew going in that they were going to be tough, and I knew it was going to be a battle, throughout the whole thing. I was just praying to God, give us one more opportunity to get the ball and try to get a score. And fortunately, we did get another opportunity. And the whole time, that's the stuff that you dream of, is to be able to take the ball down there with less than 2 minutes left and go ahead and get that score to win the football game. So it was a nice victory for sure.
You take on Lovington this Saturday, the only team to beat you this season. Did you want a rematch with the Wildcats?
Of course. It's one of those situations where we're in the same district, we're rivals. Every chance that we get an opportunity to play them, we're excited. And so it gives us an opportunity to have another opportunity at them.
What will you do different this time around?
Oh, we got some things that we think that we need to improve on. It's really cleaning up some things that we didn't do correctly the first time, and then they're going to make adjustments. We're going to make adjustments, and with two good ball clubs, like Lovington's a very good ball club, and so are we. And so when you have two teams that I feel that are equally matched, it comes down to execution and playing, the best on all three phases of the game, playing great on offense, defense, and special teams.
How much of an advantage will it be playing on your home field at Eastern New Mexico University?
where, we love playing at home, and, we have that home field advantage in my opinion. And so, I think that there's something to say about that. The way that we do the playoffs here in New Mexico, I think it's a neat situation where they take the prior history from the semifinals and finals, and that's what determines the location. And sometimes it works out in your favor, and sometimes it doesn't. Just from year to year, it just says the prior history that we've had in the past, having Bloomfield, the #1 ranked team, come to Portales, and it was nice to play at home versus us traveling, because in 19 we traveled to both Bloomfield and to Lovington in the semifinals, and then we traveled to Bloomfield in the state championship in 2019.
Well, in 2019, you won it all. How similar is this year's team to that one, if at all, or how are they different?
Well, every team has their own personality. And so this personality of this team is, I think that we have more guys going, playing on one side of the ball on this team. So I think our depth on this team is greater than our depth in that 2019 state champion team.
What's your focus this week? What are you working on heading into Saturday's game?
Just trying to get better, in all phases. So, I mean, not one thing in particular, but everything in particular, so we're trying to get better in every phase. We want to be the best version of ourselves when we come on Saturday, so that we could do what we want to do.
Lovington beat Silver in the semis 45-26 to advance to the final. Wyatt Gomez threw 5 touchdown passes in that one. The Wildcats beat Portales a month ago 29-21.
Lovington head coach Anthony Gonzalez clicked on the computer to join us. Coach, you picked up a state semifinal win against Silver. How much momentum do you have heading into this last week of the season?
I mean, if you're not excited right now to go and play in the state championship, you need to check your pulse. Something's wrong with you. So just, after a big win against Silver, a really, really good football team, a team that had knocked us out the previous season, and just to be able to do that at home in front of a home crowd, the kids are feeling really good right now. And so we definitely have a lot of momentum going our way right now.
How do you feel your team is playing right now?
I feel like we're clicking on all cylinders. I feel like since the start of district play, and then through the playoffs right now, that's been our challenge to our kids, is to start fast and be efficient in all 3 phases of the game right now. So right now we're healthy, which is an incredible blessing for us, especially after our non-district schedule that we had to play. We played some really, really good football teams. And so we're as healthy as we've been all year long. And we're playing really, really fast right now in all 3 phases of the game. And so that definitely gives us, I feel like, an advantage coming into the state championship.
The only New Mexico schools to beat Lovington this year are Artesia and Roswell, and they're playing in the 5A state final. You mentioned that schedule. How much did that early tough competition help prepare you for where you are right now?
It was huge. I mean, it's crazy every year when I sit down and put the schedule together, and then it comes out, people look at me like I'm crazy, and they're hey, what's wrong with you? Why are you doing this to yourself? But, when you open your season up against Roswell High, and you got to turn around and play Seminole High School, who is currently getting ready to play in the 3rd round of the playoffs in Texas, having to line up and play Hobbs, having to line up and play Artesia, having to line up and play Santa Teresa. Those really, really good programs that have big physical teams that stretch you, that are really, really fast. When I got into coaching, I can remember one of my coaching mentors, Coach Keeling, who coached me at Hardin-Simmons University. He used to always tell me that if you want your kids to be in a situation where they can win a championship in November and December, you have to challenge them in August and September. It's the only way to be able to prepare your team. And so I keep that in the back of my mind when we're getting our schedule set up. And we've definitely played some championship programs week in and week out in our non-district schedule. And it's because of us playing those teams, I feel like, has put us in the situation that we're in right now.
Well, it's the 2nd time in 3 years that Lovington has reached the final. What does it take to lift that blue trophy at the end?
When I think you get into a championship type environment, Obviously, if both teams did not have a really good scheme, if they didn't have really good players, they wouldn't be in that situation. So I think when you get into a championship type environment, it comes down to effort. It comes down to fanatical effort. It comes down to the team that's willing to go out there for 4 quarters, and the team that puts forth fanatical effort from start to finish more than the opponent, that is the team that's going to be successful. If you're in this part of the season right now and you're in a championship type environment, you have a good offense, you have a good defense, you're great on special teams, you have good players, it's going to come down to effort. And so every championship game, I believe that's going to happen this Saturday, the team that's going to be victorious is the team that puts forth better effort from start to finish.
You can be quite lively and vocal as a head coach. I love the enthusiasm. What's your pregame speech going to be like? Give me a taste. Get me fired up, ready to go.
JP, I don't know if I can do that. I might pass out right here in this office right here. It's been pretty emotional this morning. This morning we, had a chance to install and put stuff in for this week and get prepared for the season. You actually get an extra day being able to play on Saturday. But my challenge to the team is going to be this. I mean, you have an opportunity to go out there and do something that not every other 4A team in the great state of New Mexico gets the chance to do. And so if you're at this point right now where you are in the season, you know how to win. You have the opportunity to go out there today and be legendary. And so that's going to be my challenge to our team all week long. You got a chance to put your number on the back of that stadium. You got a chance to go out there and do something that the ones before you have established here in this program. Go out there and be legendary today.
Well, you beat Portales once already this year. What's it going to take to do it twice?
They've got a really, really good football team. And that football game that we played for the district championship, when we played them, we didn't blow them out, And so, again, they wouldn't be in the point of the season where they are right now if they didn't have a really good football team. Very explosive on the offensive side of the ball, and they're very, very tough on defense. And so for us to be able to go in there, the biggest thing that we must do is take care of the football. We were fortunate in the district championship to win the game because we finished at -1 in the turnover battle. They actually won the turnover battle. We lost 2 times on 4th down, and we threw an interception. And so that's going to be the biggest thing for us is we got to make sure we take care of the football, maximize our opportunities on offense, and then make sure that we try to limit their big play, because at any point in time in the game, they can take the top off of a defense and make a big play. So for us, it's limiting the big play and make sure we're taking care of the football.
The Class 4A final is also set for Saturday at 1 p.m. in Portales at Eastern New Mexico University. The Class 3A final will also match up district rivals St. Michael's and Robertson. The Horsemen advanced with a 41-0 shutout against New Mexico Military Institute. St. Michael's is in the final for the 3rd straight year.
Joining us now is St. Michael's head coach, Joey Fernandez. Congratulations on reaching another state final. Coach, you're coming off a shutout win of New Mexico Military Institute. Is your team playing their best football right now?
I think after that game, it showed that we are playing really good football right now. Prior game to that, we weren't. So it's kind of hard to say if we're playing our best football, but we got one more game left, and I hope it's a lot like the last one.
Well, in that game, you faced Robertson, a team you already beat once this season. What's it going to take to do it twice?
It's always hard to beat a team twice. Robertson's going to be well prepared. They're going to have the motivation to beat us, but, we're going to get our kids ready to play, and I think it's just going to be a great game. It's going to be one of those nail biters that, each team is going to be making big plays. And, the team that has ball last, I think, is going to win this one.
You two faced in the final in 2021. Do you like taking on a district opponent in that championship game, or does it make it more challenging?
It always makes it more challenging because you always face that team twice. Now, if you lost to them earlier in the season, it makes it a little easier to motivate the kids, and that's why beating them earlier in the season is going to be a tough one for us. But, I don't care who we face, but it's always good to face a district rival, especially one that we face a lot and we always have great games with, and that's Robertson.
How do you prepare for Championship Saturday? Do you have any routines or traditions at this point?
Not a lot of routines. We do one thing that we do is last practice of the season, we have all the kids carry up the rest of the seniors to the locker room, and we kind of give them that special treatment. But pretty much it's practice as usual. We try to get everything prepared, get the kids ready, and do everything we can to win the ball game.
Well, who gets to carry coach on the last practice?
And nobody. I don't have enough strong guys for that. I'm too heavy.
St. Michael's won it all in 2012. What would it mean to you and the program to lift that blue trophy on Saturday?
Well, it's been tough going. We haven't won the trophy in 11 years. We've been awfully close, but we haven't won it. I think the biggest thing is if we are able to get that blue trophy, it's going to mean a lot, not only to the program but to St. Michael's High School and the whole community. They've been following our program for a long time, and I think that's one of the things that they've been waiting for the last 11 years was for us to bring home that blue trophy.
This is the third year in a row that St. Michael's has played in the championship game. Is there pressure when Saturday rolls around?
I think there's a little pressure, not being successful in the last two kind of gives us that extra added pressure to bring it home this year. It's always hard to win it, but when you're there 3 times in a row, you're expected to bring it home at least once. So we've got that pressure on us to do it this year.
So lastly, what's it going to take to get over that hump and win it all, finish the season on top?
Well, I think our kids need to be motivated to play. I think that's been our biggest obstacle the whole season. But, we are facing a great team in Robertson, and stopping their run game, especially their quarterback, that is going to be the biggest issue because he's very shifty. He's fast. He makes big plays. Plus, he can throw the ball. So, stopping him is going to be the key to beating Robertson. But they have weapons all over the place, and I think it's just going to be one of those games that team with the least amount of mistakes is going to win it, and I hope that's us.
Robertson won a low-scoring, grinded-out kind of game with Cobre in the semis, 16-7. The Robertson-St. Michael's matchup is a rematch of the 2021 state final, which the Cardinals won.
On the computer screen with us right now is Robertson head coach Leroy Gonzalez. Coach, you're coming off a grinded-out kind of state semifinal win over Cobre, 16-7. What pleased you most about the way your team performed?
Well, we knew it was going to be a tough game. Every game that we play them, no matter how good they are, how good we are, it's kind of like 2 bulls in a telephone booth, and they like to run the ball. We like to run the ball. I think the game lasted maybe an hour and a half. So it was a tough fight. I knew it was going to be like that. And, it's one of those games where it's sad that one of those teams has to go home.
Well, you won and advanced, and this is the second time in 3 years that you'll face St. Michael's in the final. How do you match up with the Horsemen?
Well, we met them in the district this year, and they got the best of us, 21-0. That game kind of got our coaches to, a light bulb just popped, and we moved a lot of kids around. And we figured, St. Michael's kind of showed us our hand or what we had, and it wasn't working at that moment. So we moved some guys around that game, and I think we're a better team now for that loss.
Yeah. So what do you need to do differently to improve from that outcome and that matchup earlier in the season?
Man, the line of scrimmage is huge, and we lost that battle on both sides of the ball. Defensively and offensively on the line of scrimmage, and they came to play and we didn't, and we got to do a better job of defensive and offensive line play.
Quarterback Jesse James Gonzalez has been quite the weapon for you this year. How would you describe him as a player, and how valuable has he been to the Cardinals this season?
Well, we lost that we like to have scrambling quarterbacks and running quarterbacks, and he he slipped in right when his brother left. And last year he was a little green, and this year he's shown that he's improved and understands what we want out of a quarterback.
Mateo Contreras is one of those players too that's been valuable on both sides of the ball for you. What kind of weapon is he for?
Mateo's a great athlete. I mean, he's a great athlete. We can give him the ball throwing it, or we can give him the ball in the backfield. Jet sweeps, different various things. He's just athletic enough to get us the yards that we need. And defensively, he's pretty stout on the outside. He plays outside linebacker and kind of controls that edge on that side.
This is the, I believe, 7th time since 2013 that Robertson has reached the final. How do you prepare your team for Championship Saturday? I know you're used to being in this position. I see the brackets hanging behind you.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. I mean, our kids are every high school kid, that's their dream, to play in a state championship. And we make it we've made a habit out of it. But we got good kids. That's the thing. We work hard in the summer, but to prepare for Saturday, we have our routines that we do for regular season, have our routines what we do for district, have our routines that we do for state playoffs, and then we have our routines that we want to we tell our kids at the beginning of the year, our goal is to practice on Thanksgiving morning. That's it. That is our goal. We got to get there. And they know what they have to do. You know what I mean? This week there's no speech that I can tell them or anything like that to fire them up. They should be fired up themselves right now to take home a blue trophy.
The 3A final is scheduled for 1 p.m. on Saturday in Santa Fe. It's the second straight year St. Michael's gets to host the state final. Before we wrap up this football preview, we want to say congratulations to Texaco, the newly crowned Class 2A state champion. Texaco took down Eunice in the final 44-7. The Wolverines outscored the Cardinals 30-0 in the second half to put it out of reach. Alex Fuentes had 3 scores in the game. It's Texaco's first state title since 2008.
We've talked a lot of football, but don't go anywhere. Coming up after the break, we'll hear from some of the winners from the state volleyball championships. Stay with us. Are you living the life of an athlete? The New Mexico Activities Association brings you Life of an Athlete, a resource for students, educators, and parents to understand the challenges students face. Athletes, one night of drinking will negatively affect your athletic performance for 2 weeks, and athletes who drink or do drugs are twice as likely to get injured. Alcohol's effects can reduce a high school athlete's potential by as much as 20 to 30%. Are you living the life of an athlete? Log on to the website to find out today.
In life, things aren't scripted.
If you're an athlete, we need people like you and translate those skills to officiating.
You can get a lot out of it. It happens in every town, in every game.
We never have a perfect game, but the rewards always outweigh the negativities.
Welcome back to Game Time, presented this week by New Senda Credit Union. Last week was full of championship trophies at the Rudy's Real Texas Barbecue State Volleyball Championships. We handed out blue trophies to 4 new champs and 1 repeat winner.
Let's start in Class 1A. Melrose met up with Gateway Christian in a rematch of the last 3 state finals. Melrose dominated this year's matchup, winning the state title in 3. It's the 9th overall title for Melrose.
It feels so good. I'm glad we got to finish together, and this team has been the best, so it was awesome to win with them.
It's just amazing. These girls prepared, did the work, worked hard. I mean, they just are extremely hard workers. They were hungry from start to finish. We saw some adversity right there in the middle with an injury, but they just kept battling and kept fighting and played a really, really tough schedule. I'm just so blessed to be their coach and so excited for them.
Texaco was playing in the final for the 2nd straight season. The Wolverines took on Tularosa. Texaco won the first 2 and then won it in 4. It's the 17th state championship for Texaco, which is the most overall titles of any volleyball program in New Mexico.
Oh, it feels so great. We worked hard for this. We put in hours of long practices. We came together, we worked hard, and we got what we wanted.
It's really awesome. We worked for it all season, and I think that now that we finally got in, there's no stopping us.
Man, it feels good. We started out this summer winning a tournament in Moriarty, and at that point we knew we were going to be good. It's just been working every single day, knowing the end goal.
And we've just been trying to really push through. We've all been working really hard.
In Class 4A, rivals Albuquerque Academy and St. Pius went head-to-head. The Sartans dominated this matchup, winning in 3. It's the first state title for St. Pius since 2019, and their 9th overall.
It's just a true blessing. Our kids work so hard. We've busted our butts. They wanted this. You know, we talked a lot about the Lions mentality and just staying true to ourselves. And they did exactly what I asked them to do. I couldn't be happier for this group.
I mean, it was like unreal. Like all of us, like we worked so hard all season, and us like finally coming together and like winning it. Like not only for us, but like for our families and everything. It was like just an amazing moment.
It was probably like the best thing you could ever think of, and we didn't get to experience that last year because we were runner-up. And so I think it was even better now because we got to experience failure before success.
Class 5A final was top-ranked Las Cruces going up against Cibola. This one was extremely competitive with scores of 25-19, 30-28, 22-25, and 25-21, with Las Cruces winning it all, taking the title for the first time since 2001.
It's amazing, you know, for us to hear the words first seed Las Cruces, that's been a long time coming. I can't tell you when we were the first seed last, but it's probably been 22 years, 21 years. We've always been hovering. This was our 4th final in the last 15 years. So we've made the finals, but we haven't finished. I was talking with Coach Norton because this is her first time making it to the finals as Cibola's coach. And just to get here, especially 5A as strong as it is, that's a testament to what they've done. But you know, winning it for us, that's a testament to the work that we've put in, to the work my seniors have put in. 3 of them for 4 years and the 4th one for 3.
It's amazing. My team worked so hard. We did so much work to get here, so it feels great. It feels amazing. We've been working on this since the season started. Since we faced the Cueva and we beat them, we know we wanted this. We know we wanted to end up here, and we had to work for it. It feels amazing.
Congratulations to all the state champions, and good luck to the teams competing this weekend. That's going to do it for another episode of Game Time, presented this week by Nusenda Credit Union. Make sure you tune in next week to find out who lifted that championship trophy in football. The place to find the most high school highlights is right here. We'll see you next time on Game Time.